Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first recap of the classical tournament that I am attending in Jordan. It's a 9 round tournament. It's from the 8th of January to the 14th. Today we have only one game to cover. Tomorrow there will be two, and we're gonna have a total of 9 games. I came back home. I'm honestly super excited, and honestly, I'm really happy too because I thought my opponent wasn't rated and I played the game and I just found out they were rated or she was rated, so I didn't waste my time because this game is actually rated. So honestly, I'm super excited. I just want to jump into the recap. I showed up a few minutes late. I was 7 minutes late to the game. It's 90 minutes, 90 minutes for each player, 30-second increment, and I began the game with e4. My opponent was also late, but it didn't really matter because my own clock was running. So, and I saw c6. And honestly, I wasn't too pleased with c6. Uh, I don't really like, I've dabbled a lot into the Caro-Kann. I used to play this variation with knight c3, but I've been experimenting with the King's Indian attack, as many of you know. And my opponent played e5, and honestly, I was just out of any preparation here. I didn't look at this at all. I just know the system and the ideas, and I played a lot of games online and I analyzed. So I was like, okay, I just played knight gf3, and I promised myself, or not I promised, but I did tell myself that I'm not gonna overthink. It's move 4. It's a system. Many of you would be surprised, but like an old version of me would spend like 15 minutes of like you wouldn't believe me. I would spend 15 minutes here just completely overthinking, the position of that. It's completely irrelevant. So I was like, just play knight gf3. Opponent played knight d7. I played g3. Very standard King's Indian attack stuff. And opponent played bishop d6 here. And I'm not really spending much time. Uh, and after bishop d6, I didn't know if bishop d6 was particularly accurate. I know in the French defense, the bishop generally belongs on e7, but I don't know if this is the best square for the bishop in when black has played e5. I was like, okay, I'm going to castle. And here, before playing rook e1, here I spent like, let me see, I did write the time down. Like I spent 3 minutes on rook e1 from 83 minutes to 3 minutes. And I was like, I was so like rattled. Like, oh, should I play rook e1? Should I play queen e2? And I was trying to figure out the difference between these two moves. And I was like, rook e1, well, there's like bishop c5. And I was like, are you seriously calculating rook e1, bishop c5, and knight g4? Like, this is the dumbest setup of pieces I've ever seen. Like, bishop d6, bishop c5. I was like, I really don't want to overthink this at all, like I always do. So I was like, just play rook e1 like a normal person. My opponent played the move queen b6, which admittedly I didn't think was the most accurate. I honestly didn't know this setup was accurate. I don't know if this is theory. I don't know what this is. I also very briefly contemplated d takes, but I reached the conclusion from analyzing this in similar positions is that this is just bad. You just forfeit the center completely and maybe allow knight b8, knight c6. Sounds like there's no reason to do this. So I just played rook e1, queen b6, I played queen e2, and my opponent played d4. I was like, seriously? Like, I was like, okay, you're just going to allow knight c4? There I thought, and I think for a long time. How much did I think? I spent 4 minutes playing knight c4. And again, like, I don't know if like 4 minutes on knight c4 really, like, I don't know. I was contemplating if I wanted to take this bishop. And I decided on an idea. I haven't analyzed this with the engine yet. I will after this video. I'm just so excited to get into the recap. I played knight c4 and I took, and I found this very nice idea. I was like, I wanted to play knight d2 here with the idea of f4 and knight c4. But knight d2, I didn't like that this bishop was back, so f4 isn't really supported. And I thought knight b6. I'm pretty sure I saw knight b6 here. And I didn't like the, okay, I can play knight c4 here. And I don't have f4. So I found this really nice idea. I also thought about knight g5, but I found a nice idea with knight h4. And the point is, I want to play f4. I was like, okay, I have the bishop there. It's a King's Indian attack. You usually have this break, but I have the bishop there, so it even makes a lot more sense to just open up the position because you have the bishop there. So, and here I spent some time calculating g6. I thought my opponent would play g6. I'd play f4. If takes, I always had e5 ideas. I was going to take with the g pawn, and I know in this type of structure you take with the g pawn, not the intuitive bishop takes. And I was going to figure this position out. And I played knight, and my opponent just played rook e8. And I was like, wow, my opponent is gangster. Like, my opponent just doesn't care, and like a good way, like, you know, it's just boss. Like, oh, you want to play knight f5? We'll play knight f5. And here I played knight f5. I was like, I'm just better. And I spent like, was it on f4? Like, there was a move I spent like 27 minutes. Like, I played f4. Yeah, and then after c5, which I thought was probably not the right direction. Maybe I think g6 here was better, like, or something. I didn't know about c5. Maybe you want b5 and c4, which makes sense. But I don't know how black should handle this position, honestly. But after c5, I spent 29 minutes, was it? And after c5, I spent 29 minutes. And I decided to play queen f3. And the reason I spent 29 minutes was because I was forcing myself to calculate g4. And I don't know, I just felt so foggy today. It was very difficult to like calculate. I don't know, I just had so much trouble visualizing like a normal person. And I considered so many things. I considered queen f3, I considered g4, I considered e takes, I considered rook f1, I considered queen f2. If queen f2, I saw knight g4, I saw queen f3 here, but I thought knight f6 and she's going to take, and I was like, what is going on, man? And rook f1, I didn't know, do I want my queen or my rook on f1? And I didn't know if I wanted g4. There was a line with g6 I calculated. I saw knight h6, king g7 is g5. Then there's knight h5. I calculated f5. And there was a line here that was so confusing to me after knight g8. And I was like, can I play f5 here? Like, can I take f5 and go for f6? Like, I saw something like knight f8, f6, knight e6, queen f3, and just try and go queen h3, queen h6, rook f1, rook f3, rook h3. And I didn't know how my opponent was going to stop this. I just spent so much time here, and I don't know if it's valid to spend this much time. I was so confused, and I'm trying to remember what I calculated with g4. I calculated so many things. Like g6, I thought, okay, what if I go back to h4, and then takes, I can sacrifice the pawn, maybe I saw g5, and like there were so many confusing lines. Like king g7, I saw maybe f5, chaos, chaos. But I decided to play queen f3, which I thought was the most natural move. Point is, queen f2, there's knight g4, queen f3, rook f1 kind of things. And after g6, which I saw, I calculated this line. I calculated knight h6 check, king g7, and f5. And This was part of the idea of queen f3. This is what I saw. And I expected knight g8. And after knight g8, I was like panicking. I was like, am I stupid? Like, I must have went wrong somewhere because I'm not gonna go back because there's f6. My opponent didn't play knight g8, but like this is what I'm calculating. I was like, where's my attack? Like, okay, I can take. Look at fun. Like this is solid. Like I didn't see my attack here. I was like panicking. I was like knight g8. Where's my advantage? Like, okay, takes. And this is the line with f6. Like I think this is where I spent so long calculating f6. And and yeah, I think I saw something like this. And after knight g8, in my calculations, I was so confused. Like takes. If I was going to play g4 in this position and go for f6, g5, queen h3, queen h6, and for this mate, or if after f6 now, knight f8, g4, blocking this, and queen h3, queen h6, my opponent would have to play knight e6. I calculated queen h3 and I was like, okay, what if bishop d7? I was like, okay, queen h6. I know this is stopped, but I didn't know what my opponent was going to do here, and I was like okay, theoretically, I think this works. Like just some random moves. This was my idea. And I was like, how? I don't see a way for my opponent to prevent this. But I was like, kind of didn't believe that. I don't know. I just didn't believe that. So I was like, I played f5, and my opponent played knight f8. And I was like, I don't think that's a good move. And after f5, by the way, I was like, okay, she can't take, obviously, because I have knight f5. And after knight f8, I was like, just rook f1. And after queen b6, I was like, okay, she just lost. I thought she can resign. But I also spent some time here, or sorry, it was here. I think I spent about 19 minutes. Yeah, about 19 minutes, something like this. Here, because I was super rattled between rook f1, g4, and bishop g5. Or maybe it was after queen b6, I don't know. But I spent so much time at I was just trying to force myself to calculate to see which line is optimal. And I settled on rook f1 and bishop g5. And yeah, after bishop g5, I thought she could resign because how is she going to defend this knight? But like an idiot, I didn't see knight e7. But it's fine. I was going to play bishop g5 anyway. And this is just very simple. But I think I just missed that knight f8 and knight d7. I was like, okay, I'm crashing. But how can I win? I was like, where's the win? I was like, okay, I think I had about 13 minutes here. I was like, there's no other move than just taking here. And wait, unfortunately, there was a beautiful line here after knight g8. Man, this was beautiful. But I don't know if this was the exact position. I think it was fg, knight h6, bishop h6, king h6, queen f7. Yeah, but it wasn't this particular line. It was some other ideas. Anyways, after knight d7, I just took and I played bishop h3. Yeah, the game is over here. And I was calculating rook f8 here, where I would take. If bishop takes, I take. Bishop takes, I take. I probably wouldn't have taken because there's king h6, but I was seeing lines. Bishop takes, knight takes, and knight f7 like this. But this knight was a problem here. It was always super difficult to take, but I think I'd played not queen g4. G4 went like this maybe. But it's still pretty difficult to handle these sorts of positions. But yeah, I was completely winning. My opponent decided to sack the rook with rook e6. I just took and played rook f2. And after a5, which credit to my opponent is a very nice move. idea of rook a6. Uh, I played a gangster move here, which was a3. Like not even rushing with rook f1. I was kinda panicky here. I was like, should I allow this? Again, bishop f6, there's this. Actually, am I an idiot? Like g4 here is winning. Takes, takes. I don't know, I didn't want to allow. I had low time. And I think I saw this position. I was like, I just lost a pawn. Excuse me. Because okay, I'm going to win the f7 pawn, but I wanted more than a winning endgame. So I just played a3. Okay, you can't have my pawn. I'm going to play rook f1. And after rook a6, I just played rook f1, rook b6, and here I was like, is there counterplay? And the answer is no. No, there is no counterplay here. After b3, rook c6, my opponent's kind of shuffling here. It's very, very difficult to make a move here with the black pieces. I just played, I was really worried about this knight. I can't take here because this knight is hanging. So I came up with this nice idea, king g2, h3, and knight g4. After b5, h3. There's really nothing here. There's no reason to get scared. Rook c7. Again, I can take this. I just played knight g4. And I calculated knight takes g4, queen takes f7, queen takes f7, rook takes f7, king g8, h takes, and I was like, okay, this is crushing. But I still have to win a long end game. But yeah, none of that happened. My opponent just played rook c6, and I decided to take with the bishop. And after knight takes, I just took on f6. After queen f6, I took on f6. And you still have to be careful, by the way, because after, if I took with the rook here, there's bishop g4. And this is probably completely winning, but why am I making things hard? I just took with the knight and my opponent resigned. It was a really good game. I think I played really well, but I was just so hesitant this game. Like, it's not about trusting my instincts, but it's about knowing when a position is like worth sacrificing this much energy. Like this line with these lines with after c5, I was calculating queen f3, rook f1, g4. And I was like this takes energy, like more than time. Like it drained me so much for the rest of the game. And you know, here, uh, I think it was here. Yeah, I think maybe here I was deciding between rook f1, bishop g5, and g4. Like this was so exhausting and took so much energy out of me. And I was calculating all sorts of lines with like rook f1, knight g8, and I think here I was going to take fg. Like where was it? There was a line I wanted to show. I think it was here. Rook f knight g8. Yeah, I think maybe it was here. I don't know. Yeah, it was here. I think it was here with, let's say, g4, knight g8, fg, knight h6, bishop h6, king h6, queen f7, something like this. Anyways, regardless, I'm happy with the way I played, but it could be much better. I gained 3.2 rating points, I think, which is very good. I'm happy about that. I honestly thought my opponent was not rated. Like from yesterday till today, I just thought, oh, my opponent is just not rated. And I was kind of bummed out because I'm going to spend all this energy and the commute is like super exhausting. It's very far away from my house and all this stuff just to gain no rating because unrated players don't count towards your rating, win, lose, or draw. But we get a point. Tomorrow I have the black pieces. I'm going to be playing 2 rounds, so tune in for a long video tomorrow. And uh, yeah, I'm super excited. I have the black pieces. Anas Khouira is playing in this tournament. He drew Shahriar Mamidyarov at the 2024 Olympiad. So I hope I get a chance to play with them again. I've played them twice with the black pieces. I lost two very soul crushing games. Very, very soul crushing games. I lost on time and drawn position, and the other game I had like a draw, and like an idiot, it was a very simple draw and I missed it. But both were very fighting and tense games. So I hope this time I can secure a win actually and not a draw. I want to win with the white pieces. Maybe I can play for a win, play something, aggressive. And yeah, thank you to everyone who watched. Tune in for the recaps. Bye bye.